Well, following a fairly slow start to the month of July, we've been gradually seeing the heat build and expand across the United States. Thanks for clicking on to the Saturday edition of Vogan's US Outlook. It is August Outlook Day, and it's amazing to think we've already reached the summer's final month, meteorologically speaking, of course. Let's have a very quick look at the CFSV2 500 millibar height anomalies. First of all, one thing I want to show you or talk about is the heat has been building, like I say, and what we've also been seeing is drought conditions across the United States start to slowly expand. Now, I'm not going to show you that here in the video. If you do check out the written post, there's a lot more detail on there with regards to the drought conditions at the moment, the lack of rainfall in certain areas, which have led, in fact, to extreme drought conditions now starting to set in over western South Dakota, northeastern Wyoming, as well as over North Georgia and North Alabama as well. And it's here that we've seen quite a lot of heat already. But I do think I am starting to become more concerned for a very, very warm August, potentially one of the warmest on record. As we continue to see the dry conditions expand, we also see a very, very warm Gulf of Mexico, a record-breaking warm Gulf of Mexico. In fact, we see a temperature just last week of 95 degrees, the sea surface temperature just to the west of Tampa. So we are talking about a boiling Gulf of Mexico, and with atmospheric conditions becoming more favourable as we push into the heart of the hurricane season, which of course is August 15th through September 15th. We really do need to watch this area for something significant here. Of course, it has been a record-breaking streak of non-major hurricane landfalls in the United States since Wilma of 2005, the week that I actually got married. And we also have a very warm water up the eastern seaboard. So that warm water in the Gulf all the way up the east coast of Maine has a twofold influence here. We're going to also increase the heat within the atmosphere. When you've got that warm water, you've got a strong ridge of high pressure, you increase the humidity level, and you've got generally uncomfortable conditions throughout the eastern half of the United States here. And I think what we're going to see is we're going to continue to see this heat through the rest of August and into September as well. But at this moment in time, what's quite interesting is we're going to see a bit of a relaxation of the heat, especially over the Central Plain states. Because I want to show you here, upcoming 5 days, this is the CFSV2 500 millibar height anomaly weeklies. So this is the upcoming 5 days. The 6 to 10 day, if you notice here, we start to see the ridge of high pressure back in west. We're going to build the heat once again over the southwest desert region. We're up to 110 yesterday in Las Vegas. We're going to see plenty of heat across the northeastern half of the country with significant drought conditions now starting to set in, probably the worst since, I believe, probably 2002. Summer of 2002 was a very, very dry year in the northeastern half of the country. That's probably the last time we've seen drought conditions just quite as bad as this, because it has been a very dry spring and now summer overall. We've had a few rain events, but that has not been enough. With the increased energy within the sun, you've got huge evaporation rates at this time of the year, and we've continued to see things drying out. And I think we're going to be talking about major heat quite regularly during the month of August in the northeastern half of the country. Heck, we could be approaching the 100-degree mark this afternoon in areas such as Philadelphia and DC. So look at the 2-meter temperature anomalies, and you can see here, so this is still the 6 to 10 day period, and you notice here the cool down the plain states, still warm in the east, still warm in the west here. So it's quite interesting to see a bit of a reprieve, especially in places like South Dakota, where temperatures have been close to 110 degrees in recent days here. So a bit of a respite here. The 11 to 15 still cool. The 16 through 20 off the model still remains cool, and the 21 through 25 is showing an expanding cool pool across the United States. We'll wait and see what happens. I am struggling to buy into that. Now, if you look at the Canadian model for the month of August shows something very, very different indeed. You've got a very strong ridge of high pressure centered over the southern part of the United States, extending into the northern tier of the country. Precipitation wise, there is not a lot in areas that need the rain. If you notice here, It's been fairly wet here across particularly the mid-Mississippi Valley, the Tennessee Valley, but the only area that looks to see some kind of a respite from the lack of rainfall is the southeastern half of the country. But we're already in the extreme drought conditions here in North Georgia, and that is not a big anomaly by any stretch. Look at the northeast, still very, very dry. If you notice, up into western South Dakota here, where we've got extreme drought now starting to set in, no real rainfall to speak about. At least we're not seeing yellows here representing drier than normal, but at the same time, you would want to see some form of wet compared to normal here. So let's have a look at the temperature anomalies of the Canadian for August here, and it is looking rather warm, isn't it? Especially down the plain states, considering that the CFSV2 weeklies show cool extending all the way through the 17th of August. This here is quite different to what that's showing, and look at the southeastern half of the country as well. The mid-south, we're talking about significant temperature anomalies compared to normal, but pretty much the entire nation is in fact warmer than normal. So that's it for today. Do check out the written form of the August Outlook, and do check out more. Thanks for watching if you're also on YouTube watching this, and have a great weekend. Bye for now.